Sean, if I go like this, will you put like minimalist aesthetic like it says? Hello, my fellow content creators. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things beauty, fashion, and lifestyle. Today's video is for all of you who are looking to grow your presence on social media and create content that resonates with your audience. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's dive in. I would never in my life tell someone to get a cup of tea. First things first, let's talk about finding your niche. It's important to have a clear idea of what you want your content to be about, whether that's makeup, fashion, cooking, or anything else. This will help you target a specific audience and make your content more appealing to them. Next, let's talk about equipment. You don't need to break the bank to create great content, but having some basic equipment like a camera and tripod can make a huge difference. Make sure to do your research and find a camera that fits your needs and budget. Editing is also key to creating great content. You want your videos and photos to look polished and professional, so make sure to invest some time in learning how to use editing software. There are plenty of free resources available online, so don't be afraid to do some research. I can't tell them one free editing software. Now let's talk about social media. It's important to have a presence on multiple platforms, but don't spread yourself too thin. Focus on the platforms that your audience is most active on and post consistently. And don't forget to engage with your followers. Collaborations can be a great way to grow your audience and connect with other creators. Reach out to people who create similar content and see if they'd be interested in collaborating with you. Just make sure that the collaboration makes sense for both of your audiences. Finally, let's talk about content planning. Creating a content calendar can help you stay organized and consistent with your posting. This can also help you plan collaborations and make sure you're creating content your audience will love. It just says closing shot of Austen Tosone smiling. And there you have it, my top tips for content creators. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any tips of your own, please leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh my goodness. Well, wasn't that interesting? So yes, this is the script that I had ChatGPT write for me for my YouTube channel, so let's talk about it. I mean, I've been a content creator, as you know, for over 10 years, been on YouTube for over 5 years, and I have to say, this is probably one of the worst videos I've ever recorded. I think the biggest reason for that is there was not one useful tip in there. Like, is there anything that I said just before that you didn't already know if you're watching this and you create any type of content? It said, having a camera and a tripod can make a huge difference. Really? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I was trying to create content with spoons. My bad. In what world would anyone who has a very basic knowledge of content creation not grasp that? Or even someone who doesn't have a knowledge of content creation. You could stop someone on the street and anyone would know if you want to make a TikTok, you at least need your phone or a camera, and ideally you need somewhere to place that while you're recording it. It's like literal kindergarten stuff. By the way, this was not an original idea to have AI write a script and then kind of sit down and talk about it. I did see Casey Neistat and James Nord both create content like this on their YouTube channels. I will link both of their videos below in case you'd like to go check them out. But I really wanted to put this to the test with my own channel and my own content. So let's go over some of the biggest takeaways from this little experiment of having ChatGPT write my video script for me. I think the first biggest letdown of this is there is zero specificity across the board, and maybe that's on me. Maybe I could have asked for a more specific prompt. Maybe I could have had it reference certain other materials or asked it to find actionable tips versus just general tips. So maybe there is something in the prompt that I could change in the future, but in general, again, it's nothing people don't already know. Like, every bit of advice in here was the most generic thing possible. Find a niche. Editing is important. Collaborations are great. Like, there's just no specificity there whatsoever. I also didn't like that it just didn't expand on anything at all. I asked it to go up until 5 minutes as the max length of this script, and I don't even think I talked for that long once it's all edited together. Like for editing software, it had me tell you to go out and do more research. And I'm like dying to say, throw in, iMovie, CapCut, those are free just as 2 examples. And then yes, you can go do more research off of that. But for me to not even tell you that, I think is a disservice. And along with some of these generalizations, like sit back and grab a cup of tea. Like we all know that I would tell you to go grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine if it's after 5 or before 2. If it's between 2 and 5, maybe you want some tea. I don't know. You could get a sparkling seltzer. Getting way off topic, but I just don't like that it didn't even know that I would never say tea, I would say coffee. That to me is something very basic and obviously maybe not something it's going to pull when I ask it to create a script about content creation, but I feel like there should be some of those basic get to know you elements that it could pull out, like where does Austen live? What is her YouTube channel about? And it kind of pulled an older description as well as my channel. If you heard me say in the intro, I said this channel is all about fashion, beauty, and lifestyle, which is kind of what my channel started as. But if you look at my channel in the last 2 years, there's a very clear focus on the content creation side of things and the behind the scenes element. Kind of on a similar note to that, another takeaway that I found from this is I just really missed personal anecdotes. I missed seeing even a basic prompt like that and then being able to jump in and add my own advice, my own experience, or my own story. For example, telling you to go out and get a camera to let you know that, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was filming on a camera that I had gotten for Christmas. It was like my first real camera. I used it to take pictures. And when I first tried to film video on it, everything was blurry and it was really unprofessional. And how now I've upgraded to a camera that shoots in 4K that I really love. Took me a while to figure out the settings there, but that just sharing that it's a journey, sharing that side of things. And I really missed being able to jump in and add more to it or break away from, I script my videos. I do bulleted kind of paragraphs just to give myself a guideline of where I want to take the video, but I often break off from that and go on tangents and things like that too. So I really missed just being able to share my own experience and put my own spin on what was a whole list of just generic tips. One other thing that James Nord pointed out in his video is that right now ChatGPT can't really predict the future or extrapolate. It kind of just pulls from what already exists and goes from there. So it's only going to be able to use what is already on the internet. If you try to ask it something about a prediction, 5-10 years in the future, it probably will tell you that it can't do that, or it just won't be a very accurate prediction because it doesn't have that analytical thinking capability that we have. So right now that is one kind of limitation of it and one consideration of it. Okay, if we can't use ChatGPT to copy and paste our YouTube scripts and use it that way, how else can we use it, or how else can we start experimenting with it in our creator businesses? If I were to ask it for content creation tips, if I were to just put that in there and it gave me out these kind of content creation tips, I feel like I could do a couple of different things with it. So number one, I create a lot of Instagram reels where I have text overlay on the screen where I am, showing a time lapse of me filming a video like this, or where I am going for a walk and I have text appear on the screen. So maybe it's like 5 basic things content creators should always remember, like find filming equipment you like, make sure to collaborate with others, support your fellow content creators. So maybe it's more like little reminders for content creators, or if I was doing like, let's go back to basics or something like that, I could sort of see it as text appearing on a reel or on the screen. I've also experimented a little bit with using ChatGPT to come up with video hooks or video topics. So for example, if I wanted to create an Instagram reel about how I make money as a micro influencer, maybe I could ask it for 10 different topic ideas related to that, and it would say things like how I monetize my content, here is an income stream breakdown, and kind of just give you a couple of different angles to approach it from versus just that one idea that you had. So that is one potential way to use it kind of from that brainstorming side and brainstorming point of view. One other interesting way I've kind of been experimenting with it is to give it a link to an old blog post of mine related to content creation, and I've asked it to kind of summarize the blog post, and when it gives me that summary, I've turned it into a short post that I've been sharing over on LinkedIn. Because I haven't really been posting on LinkedIn lately, I do think it is a great networking tool and a great way to stand out, especially since I talk so much about the career side of this industry and how to be a successful content creator. So I've been using my old information. I'll give it a link and say, can you summarize my blog post for me? And then kind of just reapproaching it in a new way, repurposing it and using it to create a post on a platform where I'm not very active right now. So I had ChatGPT do that for 5 posts, and I have scheduled all of those posts to go live every Monday of this month. I've scheduled through later to go live on LinkedIn, so that is one way I'm experimenting with things. I expect my metrics to go up on LinkedIn this month because I'm going to be posting 5 times guaranteed versus just posting sporadically whenever I remember. And I've also heard of some fellow content creators using ChatGPT to speed up their email writing process if they can't quite think of a reply or they want a little bit of help there, if they know they're going to have to get back to someone and explain something in a bit more detail. So that's another interesting use for it. One other thing to note is that it's not always factually accurate, so just keep that in mind and don't take anything it says as truth yet, because I asked it who is Austen Tosone. It said I was a former editor, true, but it said I worked at Harper's Bazaar, which is untrue. I've worked at a lot of publications like Harper's Bazaar, but I've never actually worked there, so that's just an example of it not having accurate information. If I could tell you the top 2 things, I really do think it's a matter of either using it as a brainstorming device and giving you a point to jump off of and iterate on with your own creativity and your own perspective and all of that stuff, and also to speed up your process a little bit too. So in the case of using it for emails, me using it to kind of summarize existing blog posts to repurpose my content and make that process go faster. So those are my top 2 use cases for it right now. This may change in the future, obviously, as the technology evolves, but just wanted to make sure I talked about, if I'm not using it for scripting my YouTube videos, something I currently will still need my brain for, then here's some other ways that I can incorporate it. Because I think it's pretty obvious that the copy and paste version of this doesn't do anyone any good, obviously, and it also just doesn't help me achieve my goals as a content creator. When I create content, I aim to give you a fresh perspective, connect with you on a personal level, and really share my own experience in the hopes that it will help someone else who is in the same position that I was 2 years ago or 1 month ago, because even having someone who's a tiny bit ahead and can just share insight on what's happening real time in their business is really valuable, and it's something I didn't have when I first started out. So that's the value I hope you get from my channel, obviously, and I won't ever make you guys sit through something like that again. I can promise you that. So that's what I think, but I would really love to hear from you. So please leave me a comment down below and let me know. What are your early impressions of these AI type softwares? If you've used ChatGPT or other softwares in your business, I really feel like this is just one of those new things where we can all really benefit from sharing what we're working with one another. So definitely leave a comment down below and let me know, even if you haven't touched it yet or haven't gotten started, that's okay too. It's just nice to get a pulse check of where we're all at. And speaking of tools that we can use in our content creation business, if you haven't seen my recent video about my 10 best tools for content creators, be sure to check that out next with the up next recommendation on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.